Hey there guys, so I am not doing a From the Notebook video today because I just can't wait any longer to get a review out to you guys of A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. Guys, I'm so excited. If you don't know, this is the second book in her Court of Thorns and Roses series, so of course there will be spoilers for A Court of Thorns and Roses in this review. There will not, however, be spoilers for this book right here. This is a spoiler-free review. I plan on doing a more spoilery discussion video about this for my From the Notebook next Monday, if I can remember to tape that, because next Sunday is my graduation. So, here we go. I'm going to be honest, A Court of Thorns and Roses was interesting for me because, of course, I love Sarah J. Maas and I love her books. I think that she's amazing and, like, I love her so much that it's probably creepy. But A Court of Thorns and Roses was a retake on Beauty and the Beast, and Beauty and the Beast is my favorite fairy tale of all time. That was my Disney princess movie, but of course it's one of the hardest to retell because you're trying to retell Stockholm Syndrome and make that romantic, and that just doesn't work that well, you know? And so after A Court of Thorns and Roses, even though I really did like Feyre and I liked the book and I liked Tamlin, it still was that kind of just like, kind of a thing where you're just like, you know, she fell in love with this guy who just like happened to be nice to her and protect her, and so I was like, all right, Sarah, I totally believe in you and I'm totally, of course, going to get all of your books, but I gave it, I think, 4 stars. I'm not quite sure. But that's how I feel about it. I was like, okay. Everything is made better by A Court of Mist and Fury. I gave it 5 stars. I would give it more stars. I have talked about this book with professors who are into fairy tale retellings, who are into children's literature, you know, YA. This is technically new adult. By the way, if you are not into sex scenes that are above PG-13 rating, don't read this book. I'm just gonna put that out there right now. Sarah sold this as new adult for a reason, and hello. Yeah, but anyways, besides that, this book takes everything that I was worried about in A Court of Thorns and Roses and was literally just, I felt like it was literally saying to me, you were worried? You know Sarah knows what she's doing. And I should have known. This book, if you were worried about that at all, this book lets Feyre talk about that, and she muses on, you know, who she's become after the, you know, becoming a high fae and what that makes her relationship with Tamlin, because I feel like a lot of books, they just like, you know, the characters have to do terrible things to save each other and save the world, and then there's no fallout from that, no real fallout. Like, sometimes books kind of address it, but they just move on. And Feyre at the beginning of this book is struggling. She has severe PTSD. She's not sure about her decision. She has a whole lot of baggage, and so does Tamlin, and neither of them really react very well to that. And this book is really Feyre coming to terms with the fact that the girl who needed to be protected doesn't exist anymore, and she needs to find a new purpose for her life, and Tamlin isn't necessarily providing that. And so she talks about that. She talks about, you know, maybe I fell in love with the first person who showed me protection. Maybe I am stronger than I think I am. Maybe this isn't actually as great of a situation as I think that it is, and I should really step back and think about this. And just like, oh god, guys, this book, okay, try not to be super spoilery about what happens for the bulk of this book, but of course, you can guess by the cover, the bulk of it takes place in the Night Court with Rysand, and his cast of characters down in the Night Court, and, finally, there was this great group of people who were just fun to be around and interesting. I found that the High Fae and other, like, denizens of the Spring Court where Tamlin resides were, like, okay, they were fine characters, but in this book, all the personality comes out. I have been a Rysand fan from the beginning, and I I love him a lot. I love him a lot, and I love the fact that he is willing to take care of Feyre and that he is willing to let her heal. And instead of using his time with her in the Night Court to, you know, really push her buttons, he says, you know what, I believe in you and I know that you're going through things and I'm going to help you get through them and I'm just going to believe in you. And that was really great and wonderful. And then the cast of characters around him, like his brothers in arms, his cousin Moore, they were just fun characters and they were interesting too. I liked how all of them got really, really interesting backstories that went very deep and they were all connected, and you can see how they all relate to each other, because that was something I was missing in the Spring Court. They were all very standoffish and kind of shallowish characters, which was fine because that's how Feyre also interacted with them. Like, she didn't take the time that she takes with Rhys's inner circle in the Night Court. So that was fine, but I loved being able to see that. I mean, you know, I've reread this 4 times since it came out, and I do admit that there are some things about the writing that aren't so great, and I think that's because Sarah's trying to push out so many books, now 2 series at the same time. Like, she uses the phrase gobbled up in a lot of different ways and a lot of different times. I'm just like, why? But if that's the only thing that I'm picking out of this book as a maybe wasn't so great, like, I don't care. Read this, especially read this if you need to see something that is, I feel like, is almost literally mocking YA romance in a way and being like, you know how people are usually like, oh, this is so romantic, but it isn't? It's addressed in here, a lot of that, and like the Stockholm Syndrome aspect of the first book is addressed in this, and Feyre thinks about it, and Feyre thinks for herself and becomes stronger and really comes to terms with what she did, and the characters are great and the plot is really great. I know that it's a huge book. It is over 600 pages. This is, of course, still just a night of reading for me, but there's a lot in here, and you meet a lot of interesting characters, and it never stops moving. And then the end just really screwed me up. Oh my god, I was interested in A Court of Mist and Fury. I wasn't as excited for the next book after A Court of Thorn and Roses. That is not the case after A Court of Mist and Fury. I need the next book now, and I feel like it's gonna be even better and even greater, and oh god, guys, I just love Sarah's books a lot, and I love that even when I think that she has set herself up for an impossible situation with a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, which is almost impossible to make a strong female character out of, she does it. And that is so important to me as someone who grew up thinking that Beauty and the Beast was like the pinnacle. Now I see how the fairy tale can be done right, and that is important to me on a lot of levels. So I really like this book, and if you were worried after A Court of Thorn and Roses, don't be worried. In fact, it gets even better. So pick it up, read it, love it. You won't be disappointed. So yeah, I also will be doing, like I said, a more spoilery discussion video about this book, because I've seen some people discussing the fact that Sarah has introduced a love triangle to this book, and I want to talk about why I don't think that there is a love triangle in this book. So I will be talking about that hopefully next Monday, if I can get that video together, or the Monday after that. So look forward to that, and I look forward to many more discussions about this book. Bye guys!